How long have you wanted to be a farmer or a gardener?
About 4.5 years. It all started when I was living in a horrible, horrible motel area, but at least we had some good neighbors. And we were very low income, very low budget. We were having, I think, fried bologna, and I wanted something to spice it up. And I went outside, and in front of our place there were some tiny little pearl onions growing. And so I grabbed them up out of the garden. It wasn't even a garden, it was just the front yard. And we had fried onions, which made the meal taste way better than it would have tasted without it. And it was so enlightening that you could just go grab the food from your backyard. And I realized those had been growing there for years. And I wondered what other types of plants would just grow wild if you let them just grow, that you didn't have to actually be like this farmer or this gardener, but just throw some seeds out there and for the next 10 generations get to eat that food. And that was kind of the start of it. Within a few weeks, or within a few days actually, I had bought in some zucchini seeds, and we planted zucchinis in that same spot. And I mentioned that this was a very horrible drug-infested, drug addict motel, and so there was this light that was one of those motion sensor lights, and I planted the seeds there. And because drug addicts were doing drug deals all night in the backyard and going back and forth constantly, that motion sensor light never shut off, and so it had sunlight all day long and artificial light on this plant all night long practically. And I grew the most largest zucchinis you can imagine, as big around as my fist and forearm, that fed the whole entire motel property on the barbecue. And that was, I realized I could feed homeless people out of nothing just from the garden. And that was pretty much the start of it all.
What led you to start outlaw gardening?
More the necessity of just wanting to feed more people and feed myself and feed my family good food, and finding the most economical ways to do that. One of them is rabbits and chickens. Those are both outlawed within the city limits of Eureka, where I live, and they're outlawed in many cities around the United States. Also, it's also outlawed to grow your garden or your food in your front lawn, which is completely ridiculous in many places. And so just the need of needing more space to grow food and needing to be able to grow my own meat when I'm not a vegetarian led me to becoming an outlaw gardener.
If we can, if we can grow it, you don't wanna know, no. If we can't buy what you got to sell, are we all going to wind up in hell? If we can't grow it,